Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're here for qualifying ahead of the Polish Grand Prix in Ultimate Virtual Season 5, Round 8. Let me turn my microphone down a little bit. This might be a bit unpleasant. Hello. Right, yes. So, sound check. I should have done this before. We're doing qualifying here. It's 3 minutes of qualifying, no tyre wear. Drivers are free to set out the lap times that they so desire. Around this beautiful Polish circuit, elected onto the calendar by our reigning world champion Rito, but he currently sits 18th in the world drivers standings. Let's have a look at them. As it stands, Grandi is your championship leader by 29 points. He sits over a race win and fastest lap ahead of second place. He's the only driver to finish in the points every single race so far this season. Kamikaze, back-to-back podiums, thrust him up into second place in the championship. He moved past Jake last race, who won the British Grand Prix and came second in Monaco, both with the fastest lap. Jurist up a few places with his victory, of course, back in Mugello last time around. His previous victory came in the European Grand Prix at Misano, I believe, somewhere like that. So good around Italian circuits, he certainly is. Abva back in the points last race after missing out in Spain. That was his only non-scorer of the season. Fox, a different story. All non-scores apart from a second in Sunderland Hill and a first place in Valencia. Bluebell Boy sitting pretty with a couple podiums and a points finish to his name, but other than that, not much to write home about. Girouni with his first podium and FVR's first podium of the season as well. We've got about a minute left to go, and I realise stupidly I haven't had the HUD up. Not That Guy sits on pole position provisionally, but Rito immediately beats that by nearly 0.3 of a second. He is the hometown hero. He is the man looking to take pole, looking to revitalise his season so late on. 7 out of the 12 rounds already gone. The majority of the season has been run, and he sits 18th, as you can see, 18th in the driver's standings. His first point score in the last 6 races. In Mugello last time around. His only previous one was in the opening round in Adelaide. Andrian picking up some points last race as well. Pit crew, again, another driver with only one non-point score. And Vladinator on provisional pole position with a 34.50. What a fantastic lap from him. We'll show very quickly as we get, spoiler. We'll show very quickly as we get the final laps coming in, as this will be pretty much, will it be the final lap? This one we'll have to actually wait and see. I'll save the upgrades for the end. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I think they'll get another lap in, 3, 2, 1. He hits the line with 1 second to go and improves, and every driver will get one more lap, which does allow me to do the upgrades. And remarkably, with an average of 88.3 in their last 6 rolls, SFR again get a speed upgrade. Level 5, that's 2 ahead of almost every single team in the field. Porsche have just level 2. Fox moved up to level 4 last period. They thought they'd draw level with SFR, but they couldn't do it because SFR remarkably rolled the 177 they needed to get it. Who will be on pole position? The top 3 remain unchanged. Antti moves himself up into 3rd position. That's a remarkable qualifying from the super fast racing cars, and you'll find out why in just a second. Vladinator will start on pole position. Unbelievable. Rito on the front row alongside him. Antti will start from 3rd position ahead of Jake Brad and Not That Guy. I'll move this actually just over to the side of the screen. But quite remarkable, that is. Does this work? Yes, that should be fine. Jake Brad will start from 4th behind Antti. That's Not That Guy in 5th. I should just move to the other way. Not That Guy in 5th. Abva will take 6th position on the grid. Grandi in 7th. Apologies for technical difficulties. Grandi will take 7th. Then it is Kubo in 8th, ahead of Sobel in 9th, and Fox in 10th. That should be that all sorted. Yes, Fox in 10th. Then lower down the field, Pit Crew takes 11th position ahead of Girouni. Then it's Jurist ahead of Kamikaze. Hetmenica and Apley with an all Porsche 8th row. Andrian ahead of Andries. Then it's Bluebell ahead of Caddo right. at the back. Phenomenal qualifying there. Fox, Pit Crew and Girouni particularly close, all within a few hundredths of each other. No tyres that I can see. But a phenomenal qualifying there, and we'll show you why in just a second, because here is the token spend for the race, as you might have seen slightly leaked a little bit earlier. Rito spends 2 tokens starting from 2nd, Jake spends 3 tokens starting from 4th, Pit Crew spends 2 tokens starting all the way down in 11th position. Not that guy spends 2 tokens, he'll start from 5th. Abba spends 2 tokens, he starts from 6th. And those are our only token spenders today. 5 people, 5 drivers spending tokens. This is akin to Baku Season 2 with the PMP1-2, the team that was fighting at the bottom of the championship and did get relegated. Got a 1-2 there due to the enormously low token spend. Only 12 tokens were spent that day. Today it's even lower at a remarkable 11 tokens being spent. Unbelievable. And that allowed the opportunity for the team one of the teams spending 0 tokens today, Anti and Vlad, for super fast racing, 1st and 3rd on the grid. Unbelievable. Other high non-token spenders, Grandy outqualified his teammate by 4 places despite spending no tokens. Kubo up in 8th, Sobel up in 9th, Fox up in 10th in a very fast Fox car, now one of the front runners of the field, and we'll take a look at it now. Indeed, if you look at the overall ratings, you've got ThunderX still fastest on 4.8, they didn't make any strides. Closing up behind them with that speed upgrade that seemed pretty much inevitable was BFX, but they're 2nd from bottom in the Constructors' Championship, still 22 points ahead of SFR, who start 1 and 3 here in Bieleweja. And then you've got Fox right behind them on 4.4, 4.2 is Porsche, and incredibly SFR with their upgrade. Another speed upgrade propels them to 4.2 as well, 4.1 for Neon Sunset Virtual, newly rebranded. Colas Sforza on 4.0, then it's 3.6 and 2.8 for the teams behind, and 3.8 for Velocity as well, who've sunk down the order a little bit there with their focus on research, at least for this week. And a final thing, that's pretty much all there is. Let's get straight into the racing action. Here we go then. 44 laps ahead of us in Bieleweja. We're underway in Poland. Vlad starts on the soft, as does Rito. Rito, a ferociously quick driver here. It's his home circuit. It's the 2nd circuit he's chosen as his home circuit. Antti and Abva in the background fighting, making up places. They're both past Rito already. Antti putting the pressure on his teammate for the race lead. The tokenless SFRs are 1-2 here. Briefly, can he keep it up the inside? Into the penultimate corner goes Anti-Abba. Now is the inside for the long banked final corner. Oh, as much as it can be in a 2D game. Abba through into turn 1, takes the lead back off Vladinator. Vladinator just struggling there, and he's under pressure from Rito, the pole at his home circuit, going back through, but very briefly. SFR, tokenless as they were, held 1st and 2nd. Pit Crew and Grandy, the teammates fighting it out here. Pit Crew has made up 6 positions on the opening lap already. Not that guy. Down a place. Uris in 8th. Jake down a few places. Girouni, Sobel, Fox, Kubo fallen 5 places from the start. Kamikaze as he was pretty much. Andres and Kato, Apple Amazing and Bluebell and Andrin's fallen down. Vladinator back up into 2nd. Pit Crew now leads an enormous pack of cars. This is incredible scenes here at Bieleweja. Not that guy in a yellow FBR, not unlike the one FGR car that won here in Sunday League X at the very hands of Rito himself. It's up into... Oh, we've got a huge crash in the background there. Enormous. I believe it was Girouni and Bluebell Boy, and they're a 2nd off the pack now. I think they just swept each other into the grass, and I've not seen drivers have an off like that in a simulation race in a very long time. Oh, all kicking off at the start here. Abra and Vlad have run away. Not that guy. A bit of a cork in the bottle. He's set his personal best, but the soft is so powerful at that final corner. You really need the grip that it provides, and through the pretty much flat out first corner as well, right up until you get to this section, which is when it starts to be a little bit more difficult. You've got the high speed right hand sweeper at the top of the circuit, left hand follows that, and then the very tight and tedious chicane section. Vlad still holds on to 2nd. Uris has gotten himself ahead of Antti. Finns side by side, Grandy and Antti. over 6th position here into the penultimate corner they go. Anti just staying ahead for the time being. The recharging boost might come to his aid here, but he doesn't need it to get past Eurus down that main straight. A really nice overtake there. And he's up back into 5th position, but they will struggle with the grip, those SFR cars. There is absolutely little doubt in my mind about that, because if you take away the speed from their car, they have below average acceleration and they have the worst grip in the entire field at a grip-based circuit where they very briefly ran 1 and 2. They don't have the best car, but they do have the best speed. They are probably the most unbalanced car in the entire field. I don't think that's unreasonable to say. And it makes for such entertaining predictions. They are tokenless, 2nd and 4th. This is not the season finale. Do not scratch your eyes. This is a bang-on regular race in the season, but so few drivers spending tokens, they may well be on for a huge points haul here. They are 22 points. If we look at the standings briefly, they are 22 points away from safety at the moment. That is enormous. That is a race win's worth of points away from safety. And yet they might just do it. The impossible might become possible. Fuerza Roja up in 6th position at the moment, but they're only 11 points safe as it stands from BFX, who are just looming on that slight relegation spot. Rito has come into the pit lane, as has Vladinator behind them. Also the driver in last place, Andrews, came in 6 seconds off the pack, and Hetmenica, his compatriot, will come out of the pit lane a little bit ahead of him as well. Not uncommon to see those two at the back. Anti still skidding around with the very, very low grip SFR as the clouds have been announced. Will he stick it out for one more lap? No, he's going to come in this time. Not that guy. Will inherit the race lead. What a fantastic start we've had here in BL of Asia. Just truly entertaining. Grandy and pit crew now running 2nd and 3rd. ThunderX, there's a random ambulance in the forest there. ThunderX have never taken a double podium. Rain is on the way, exactly as we thought would happen when the clouds were announced, and it has, and that's played massively into the hands of the ThunderXs. Unbelievable. Kato, Jaruni, Sobel, Hetmenica and Andres, all the drivers to pit very first onto that wet weather tyre. Not that guy, Grandy, pit crew, Vladinator, Rito, all just skating around that final corner. Clouds have been re-announced here, and that does throw a spanner into the works, because there will probably still be enough standing water that the pit stop is a must. But will it be for everyone? I think that... Oh! No, Kato's on the wet cycle. Sorry, overreaction. No, everyone's coming in. Interestingly, Eurist and Amazing both pitting onto the Inter, and also Bluebell Boy, who was the last driver to come in. A great gap that Not That Guy has now. Pit Crew and Grandy running. Look at this! Flying formation. Grandy, I may remind you, is not spending any tokens. He has spent every single one of the tokens that he was allocated for this season. He is done. There's nothing left for him to spend, and yet he's running in a podium position on lap 10 of 44 here in BL of Asia. What a phenomenal thing to see. Vladinator, though, putting the pressure on. Look at the speed of that SFR car. He's also tokenless, and he's in 4th place. They're both ahead of Rito, spending 2 tokens, the hometown hero, the man who chose for this track to be on the calendar. Down in 17th, you've got another pole, Kubo, who initially did have tokens at this race. He moved them because he didn't want to steal the thunder of the man who had chosen, who had elected for this race to be on the calendar due to him winning the championship. We've got ghosted pit lanes, which should make things interesting. Double stack, a lot less of an issue at ghosted pit lanes track. Only some tracks have the technology for that, but look at the speed that Vlad gets on pit exit. He just outdrags Grandy. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. He's up into 3rd already. Pit crew spending 2 tokens as a 2nd. Let's just do the token rundown quickly. Rito spending 2 tokens, he's in 4th. Jake spending 3 tokens. Where the fuck is it? 6th place he is. Pit crew 2 tokens, he's in 3rd. Not that guy, 2 tokens, he's in 1st. He got very advantageous with the rain. And Abver spending 2 tokens is in 6th place. So we've got all of our drivers who are spending tokens in around the top 7. Look at Pit crew and Rito flanking Vlad. Their straight line speed until he doesn't have it on that hard compound tyre. Rito has it as well, but they both just absolutely boosted their way past him. What a fan... Whoa. Not that guy. It's a 6-second lead out in front, pulling up the driver's standings just for a second with the lull in the action. He has 2 pole positions to his name, one at Circuit Paul Ricard, the other at Sunderland Hill. They came in back-to-back races. He was unable to capitalise in either of those races. He did take points, but he didn't take a podium. So he's not only looking for his first win, he's looking for his first podium of his Ultimate Virtual career, being in his rookie season, replacing Goose, the team owner at Flying V Racing. Pit Crew sits in 2nd position at the moment. He's looking for a good showing today. Let's check his season so far, Pit Crew. He's finishing the points in every single race, but never finished. Last race was his first finish inside the top 7, which is remarkable. So he's not finished in the top 5, he's not finished on the podium, and he's certainly not won a race. He's never won a race in his career. I believe he got a best of P2 maybe last season, or was it a P3 across a few seasons? He's definitely gotten that, I know. So he's gotten podiums before, but he's never, ever won an Ultimate Virtual race. So we've got 2 drivers, 1 and 2, who have never won a race. And then it looks like, as Grandy gets past Vlad, our 3 and 4 are the most serial race winners in the history of the competition. Well, at least 2 of the most successful drivers. Grandy with the most race wins. He's, I believe, on 8 race wins. Yeah, that sounds right. 8 race wins for him. And Rito, obviously a 2-time world champion. The first 2-time champ. No, he wasn't. But Rito, a 2-time champion still, and a lot of race wins that have come with that. Not that guy, though, really holding his own. The rookie driver, yet to win a race, out in 1st, yet to win a race in 2nd is Pit Crew, and yet to win a race in 6th is Vladinator, remarkably. Never, ever has he taken victory in Ultimate Virtual. Both Abva and indeed Fox, who took victory for the very first time in Valencia. Abva took it in Adelaide last season in his debut race. He really has an impression of just making absolutely stunning performances in his debuts across divisions. He was one of the first drivers to complete the full ladder climb all the way up. All the way up from starting out in Journeyman League Virtual, as it was called, and then getting all the way up to winning in Ultimate Virtual on his debut. Grandy and Abva side by side down the straight. The Russian and the Finn go. It looks like Abva has it for the moment. Grandy has to just back off as they exit turn 2 or 3 or whatever that is. We're just thirsty. Yeah. Behind is Vladinator. He's fallen down to 6th position. That's not what I want to do. He's fallen down to 6th position. Anti, unfortunately, fallen down to 8th. But it's just such a bizarre. It's just bizarre because this is the grip circuit. There is no circuit like in the game that is more dependent on the grip that you hold through these hairpins. So this should be like their worst track ever. This should be their living hell nightmare. But the speed on that machine is unbelievable. I mean, surely they've got to capitalise. They've got 10 tokens left to spend in total. Surely they're capitalising as they come up to lap the Kohlsforza. Funnily enough, the only place where you can ghost through a lapped car, unlike the esports leagues where you can do it everywhere. You don't even have to see them. The only place where you can ghost through a lap car here is in the pit lane. Everywhere else you would have to fight them out on track for position. Abva closes up behind, not that guy. He might be screwed over by rain here if we get any announcement. It is still sunny here in Bielorussia. So, right. Let's do a little bit of a rundown just after we see the conclusion of this battle. It's the hard shod, not that guy, against the hard shod Abva, but look at the grip deficit that Abva has. He just slides out through those corners, and yeah, tricky for him, certainly. Pit Crew is into the pit lane. He was our race leader. After not that guy came in, he has been thoroughly undercut, and he will come out actually behind Jake. Just ahead of his teammate Grandy, who I believe must have also just... No, actually Grandy fallen off the pace a bit. So our tokenless drivers from early in the race, who are effectively 1, 2, 3, have not performed as well in this latter phase. Rito now into the race lead, but he has such older tyres in comparison to not that guy. As a frame of reference, I'm not going to pop up the standings again because that does tend to annoy people. But Rito is in 18th in the Drivers' Championship, and now he's in 2nd in the race. Not that guy. As we head on to lap 20, retakes the lead of the Polish Grand Prix. A little fight between Blubber Boy and Menica going on just up ahead. That's a lap down. Yeah. So, not that guy retakes the lead. Abva also goes through into 2nd place. Abva looking for his 2nd career win. I do have to pop on the standard. Sorry, I don't think he's taken Yes, he's not taken a podium since Australia, but has finished in the top 8 in every race bar one, which is unbelievable. Just what a season, and it's the single token spends that are really just peppering away at it as he goes for the lead here. Ab front on lap 21 takes the lead off not that guy, the Italian versus the Russian, as they head into the double left-hand, triple left-hand corners even. It looks like Abba will hold that advantage for the time being. Rito now just in that third position. He's still yet to come in off those old hards, and pit crew will be making rapid gains, particularly through this sector. The speed on the BFX is not at all bad. If you look at it there, yeah, well, actually, okay, yeah, that's fair. So they've got not great grip. It's 5, there's some teams on 4, there's some teams on 3, there's SFR on 2, but 6, 6, 6, 8. The top running teams all have something in common, that is the grip. I mean, that's proven really important this season. So that's a little tip if you want an upgrade plan. But yeah, Rito into the pit lane, out, of course, behind pit crew, who was catching him anyway. And he's just come out a bit ahead of Jake Brad, who is having a really disappointing race for somebody who is spending this many tokens. Just a recap, he is our only 3 token spender. It was going to be both Neon Sunset cars. It is now just Jake. But something about that car just doesn't quite seem to be working today. I'm not sure what it actually would be. They've got alright grip, alright excel. It's just not a stunning car. It's pretty mid-pack now, to be honest. It's now the 5th fastest, I believe, or 6th fastest. Obviously very close to everything, so take that with a pinch of salt. But yeah, it's not particularly outstanding. So yeah, that does make sense. Not that guy continues to lead as he has for most of the race so far, as we've passed the halfway mark now at the end of lap 22. We're on to lap 24, as it is pit crew a few seconds behind. He's on soft tyres, they're pretty worn. Abba's fresh hards, he might be able to make some inroads. It's 4 seconds. And Rito on slightly older hards. I think Abba did pit later, came up behind Rito, maybe re-overtook him, we would have missed that. Whatever it is, Jake is on decent condition mediums. Vlad still running up there. He's got fresher mediums than Jake does. He might be on for a P5 yet. Despite Jake's 3 token spend, that would be well embarrassing. Anti in 7th place. This is on course to be 14-point haul for SFR, which is obviously they're 22 points off BFX, but then ahead they're 24 points off Porsche. They're 28 points off Flying V Racing. They're 33 points off Werza, and they're 39 points off Carlos Tvorz. At 39, at the end of the day, you can score 44 points in a weekend, or 43 points in a weekend by taking first and second. So you wouldn't count anyone safe, and you wouldn't count SFR out of it. Don't discount 14 points, even though it looks like Rito is going to get a good finish here in the top 3. It would be his first podium of the season, of course, and it's only his 3rd point score. Oh, light rain on the way. Not that guy leads again, and Abba, I think he'd recently come in. Well, they're probably on alternate strategies, that's right. So not that guy has saved a pit stop through this. Antti and Grandi, the Finns were the first onto that wet tyre. Cato also running up in 10th, which is surprising, actually. I don't know how he's gotten there, because he's not spending any tokens, and his car is pretty mid. Let's look at the VLO. Yeah, it's 3.8. It's like the 3rd worst car on the grid. He's done well there, definitely sure. Yeah, so we got all these drivers in now. It's not that guy, it's Abba, it's Rito, it's pit crew, Jake and Vlad have all come in. These will be the last drivers to come in. In fact, he stands a chance, or half a chance, of catching up to Vlad. Vlad just getting the slow acceleration out of the pit exit now. Yeah, he didn't quite get in there, but he pitted a lap earlier. There was always the chance of that happening. Interesting to see no one go for the Inter despite light rain being announced. I guess it's probably just sort of a fear of doing something different from the majority, but not that guy in a FVR car, a Flying V Racing. Looking at its stats, it's got average speed, it's got below average excel, below average grip, and slightly above average turbo, but that's not that impressive. It is, in all honesty, the 2nd worst car on the grid because of the research that they did, the lack of upgrades in the last couple of races. They looked really good at some point. They were sort of very close with Fox, but now they've fallen 0.8 behind them, and that's all the difference in this field. But with such a tight field, it's hard to argue that Not That Guy couldn't win this race with the second slowest car. We've seen stranger things happen. Andrew taking victory in Imola last season, of course, comes to mind. Right. I'm sorry if the mic is not quite the same this race. I'll see if I can do with it, but it should be a better microphone theoretically. Yeah, Not That Guy continues to lead ahead of Abba. It's Jake, then it's Rito and Pit Crew. Oh, look at this, such a close battle behind. Yeah, really, really tight as they come into the pit lane. They are coming off the wet tyre. Not That Guy did stay out. He's had the rain come in his favour so far this race, most of the time. Let's see if that does continue, because it's it's going to struggle here. Definitely going to struggle here. He did have a great lead, of course, so he has that in hand, and maybe that's what he was risking, trying to push it a bit further by waiting for some more rain to come back. It hasn't, and he does pile into the pit lane. Now you can see all the logos of the real life, well, as it was then, Sunday League teams, and that's a nice little bit of heritage there. But as he comes out of the pit lane, gets back up to top speed as he comes through the first couple of corners, and he still has a nice few seconds buffer over Abba. So at the end of the day, not a disaster for him. Rito runs into third, Pit Crew right behind him. This is still a ferocious battle. It's the 2 token spending Thunder X versus the 2 token spending BFX. I think he is only spending 2, Rito. Yeah, that is his forte. They have very similar cars indeed. It is, yeah, same speed as each other. 1 more acceleration for Thunder X. Oh, and then 3 more grip. But BFX claw it back on turbo. But look at the difference in points and positions. It's 54 points versus 110. That's less than half for BFX so far this season, and they've only got 1 extra token left to spend. It's absolutely insane that. But they're only 0.3 behind in terms of index. They're just 8 places lower in the championship. Jake round the outside of Rito. Great overtake at that big sweeping right-hander, and Jake looking to get through on his teammate is a lap down, and Kubo will be thinking what it could have been at his home race here today. Oh, rain back on the way. Jake's in immediately. Pit Crew is still out there. It's immediately, sorry, it's on the cloud, so it should pretty instantly come out into rainy conditions. Rito, as they exit the pit lane now, that is wet conditions. We'll see how the drivers ahead are doing. Pit Crew, Abba, Not That Guy very close to home. He should be pretty fine. We've got 11 laps left to run after this. Oh, we've got clouds being announced. That means the track will start to dry very, very soon indeed. Not That Guy in. He is in for the wet. Abba, will Pit Crew risk it for the biscuit? No, he won't. He stays out. And I think Kamikaze, yeah, will come in. So, okay, Pit Crew does put on the Inters. That is a slight improvement. I think that's the way to go. I think he'll get great pace on that Inter. Rito coming up behind him now, putting some pressure on, just doesn't get the optimal line through as Pit Crew laps his teammate. Kamikaze also put on the intermediate time. But look at that, 7 pit stops in 34 laps. That's 1 every, well, it's slightly under 5 laps, isn't it? It's pretty insane, the rain that we've had, and it's 8 pit stops further down for the likes of Andres, who just absolutely loves that pit lane, it seems. Light rain continuing, so I think the Inter will be an absolute treat here, and obviously the right call to come in for it, because staying out in these conditions and now the rain is coming back in a moderate form is not ideal. But look, this is the fight that we've got on our hands. It's Not That Guy, it's Abba, then a few seconds back it's Jake, 3 tokens, NSR, Pit Crew, 2 tokens, Thunder X, Rito, 2 tokens, BFX, and then tokenless behind, Anti and Vlad, still incredibly holding the fort in 6th and 7th position. That's Grandy, Fox, Sobel, Kuba, and Eurus. Our 5 token spenders are in the top 5. All of them spending 2, apart from Jake spending 3. Only 11 tokens being spent today, and the SFR thoroughly best of the rest. And this is, I mean, obviously, probably wouldn't be the right call to spend tokens here, because of all the tracks, even with the advantage they have now, which is totally unexpected, they were not at all anticipating getting level 5 speed. Here it was more of an idea of building it for Palanga. But of all the tracks to get level 5 speed, you wouldn't want to be spending tokens here, because it isn't stereotypically what you consider to be a speed track. So they didn't. They're tokenless. However, it's played into their hands so perfectly that a P6 and a P7, as it stands, gets them 14 points, which is a huge haul. That is as many as you get pretty much for third place. And that usually requires 2 or 3 tokens being spent. In this race, only 2, but in some races 3 or sometimes 4 token spenders can't get that. We've got Clouds coming back. Let's see how Pit Crew did do on the Inter. Yeah, he is in this fight. They've dropped Rito, funny enough. So it's Jake's extra token working and Pit Crew's Inter tyre working. The Inter has got an especially favoured tyre in this game by some. It is by others. Eurus a particularly big fan of it in real life, but we'll have to see in this simulation. No, he's taken the wet tyre. We've got 6 laps left after this one. Not that guy coming round the final sector through the hairpin sweeps, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty comfy 1-2 with him and Abva. Oh, I didn't even see Jake there. Look at him just creeping in. And that extra token, it's been dormant for most of the race. He's not looked particularly outstanding. He was running in 5th for quite a long time. He's fighting for 3rd. It's 2nd now as he heads on to lap 39 of 44, and Jake moves himself up. The 3 token spend does look to be paying off here. 6 points per token you get for 2nd place. That would be pretty special indeed. Antti is the first driver into the pit lane, surely for a slick compound, and indeed it is. His teammate Double Stacks right behind him, the goes to pit lane. Not really needed there, but still always helpful. Of course, we've got Rito, our highest running driver, lowest running, well, whatever. We've got Rito's not pitted, but he's actually not that far off the lead, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. It's because it's not that guy, then it's Jake, then Abva, then Pit Crew, and now Rito into the lane, and coming out of the pit lane. It should be pretty much the same order, but Jake has made up little inroads, and this race might not be run yet. You've got the Neon Sunset car, which is pretty mid. It was one of the front runners. The shake-up of the grid and the tightness in the last few races has caused huge up and down, side to side action here. You've got the Not That Guy's FBR, which is the 2nd worst car on the grid, so neither, as it stands, particularly front runners, but they're both looking for something. Jaruni got the first podium for FBR last race. Not That Guy has never taken a podium. He's never won a race in his career. Jake Brad has won many races and won the Constructors' Championship as well. Came runner-up in Season 3, and he's putting the pressure. It's the veteran against the rookie. It's the mentor against the mentee. It's the ultra-experienced Constructors' Championship winning Season 1 original versus the driver brand new on the grid this season, who's barely even ran in the podium places, let alone stood on one. This is a phenomenal brawl that we'll have to the end. Abba, as it was, just wasn't able to put the pressure on, which is remarkable because he had 2 tokens, and he has that Fox car, which is so fast. It's 4.4 index. It's the 3rd fastest car. Light Raid back on the way. Not That Guy still leads. We've got just a couple laps left here in BL of Asia, and we might get an ending akin to the one in Sunday League X. Not That Guy and Jake Brad side by side through the hairpin section. It's so tight. Jake to the inside. Not That Guy reclaims it for the next corner. Will they come in? Will one box opposite to the other? They both come into the pit lane. Jake hits that limiter slightly later. The rain is going to go away though. Will anyone running in lower positions not pit? Pit Crew is in. Will Rito stay out? No, he won't. They're all coming in. Nobody chancing it on staying out with Clouds announced and with little rain left. But as they come out of the pit lane, Jake leads the Polish Grand Prix, looking for his 2nd victory of the season, and a race that Not That Guy has commanded from the front has just slipped away from him, and it might be ever more so. But what about the wet runners? The wet runners might have to come in, and Abva on the Inters might be able to stay out. No, they're all going to stay out, and a wet on a dry track is not the tyre that you want, not that guy in Abba. This is the fight we're expecting for the lead all race long. Abba wasn't able to make it happen, but with the compound difference here, he does get into second place, and Jake in first has so much less grip as they head into the second and third sectors of the lap. We thought it was going to be an easy victory, but not that guy. Abba, every single corner makes tenths and tenths on Jake. Can he hang on? The Fox car right there, tucked in behind the Neon Sunset, and it looks like it's been just enough for Jake. Abba gets a good exit, but it's not enough, and by 300ths of a second, Jake Brad wins the Polish Grand Prix for the Neon Sunset team with their headquarters in Yorkshire, but their heart in Poland. Jake by 300ths, just as it was between Rito and Gamer on the line. Back years and years ago in Sunday League X. Level at the end. Incredible. Jake, after 27.5 minutes of racing, and that was 27.5 minutes just right, because a single more corner and I think he would have been absolutely finished. Wins here. Abba takes another podium this season, as he did back in Adelaide. Not that guy. Third place for him, his first career podium, but he led what I'd say probably 90% of the race. Pit crew finished fourth for Thunder X, 2 token spend there, coming off well. Rito massively dropped back in the end. It was 5th place for him. A great story this race. 6th place, 7th place, fastest lap for Thunder X. 15 points to add to their tally, and they claw their way back into that battle, back into contention for staying in Ultimate Virtual for Season 6. Grandy makes it a double points finish for Thunder X. Fox does the same for his own team, Fox Oversteer Experience, and Caddo in 10th place takes that singular point for Team Velocity, which they'll be pleasantly surprised with, I have no doubt. Sobel 11th ahead of Kubo in 12th, and it's Urist ahead of Jaruni. Kamikaze ahead of Andres and Bluebell Boy, Andrian, and then both Porsches. A minute and a half off the race win, 19th and 20th, the reverse 1-2 for them. What a phenomenal ending to a race that was chaotic at the start, lulled in the middle, and then came back at the end just as it was in real life in Sunday League X. That's all for this week. We'll see you next time out at Palanga, the first ever Lithuanian Grand Prix in Ultimate Virtual. But until then, bye bye.